Welcome back. Today we're going to be working on a recipe from your week 2 packet. Now your week 2 has a recipe for Thai meatballs, and meatballs are one of my absolute favorite things to make. They're great to have in your fridge because if you're really hungry and you just need a little snack, you could grab a ball and eat it. Or if you have a late night kind of digging through the refrigerator thing, a couple balls will, tide you over till the morning. So I absolutely love meatballs because they're so versatile. And the other thing about meatballs is you can put a lot of vegetables in there and the kids don't know. So for this meatball, these Thai meatballs, I have about 4 slices of bacon, and we're just going to mince that up. So what I have in the bowl here is ground chicken, and what I love about adding bacon to ground chicken is it really amps up the flavor. You can really taste the bacon in there, and it really adds a note, an undertone of flavor that's delicious. So you have our ground chicken in here. We're going to add our bacon. And then we're going to mince up a scallion or a green onion. And again, so I have 1 scallion, which is about, it's probably about 3 tablespoons, maybe 4 of the minced scallion. We're going to add that to our balls. You just want to keep going back and forth over it until it's a really fine mince like that. We add that to our bowl. And then I have about a tablespoon of minced basil, a little bit of hot pepper flakes. Now if you really like them spicy, you can add more. Got a little bit of minced garlic. And I love adding vegetables to my meatballs. One of the things I really love about meatballs is you can throw in a lot of vegetables. So we've got a large zucchini. Of course, it's large by spring standards. The zucchini in the summertime are huge. It's not that big. So we've got a large zucchini that I shredded and I squeezed all the water out of it. And to that, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of fish sauce. And if you guys are not familiar with fish sauce, it's an Asian ingredient. And I call this smells bad, tastes good. Because it's kind of because it's fish. But it tastes really good. And then we're going to add a little bit of salt. We're going to add about 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to mix that up. And what's really helpful is if you just get your hands in there and work that. Work it, baby, work it. You want to get it all nice and mixed. And another little trick that I do when if you want to taste the meatballs before, you want to make sure that they're properly seasoned. I take one of these little glass or a little ceramic, and I put just a dab in there, and I put it in the microwave for about 10 seconds. And it's enough to cook it so you can taste make sure that your seasonings are correct. So I mix it around with my hands, get your hands in there. And then I make little balls. Now, if you have one of those little scooper things, they have them at the cooking store. I had a small one, but I think I broke it. So I'm pretty good at eyeballing these. So you want to make your meatballs probably about the size of looks like they're about the size of a ping pong ball. And then we're going to put those in a 400-degree oven for about 15 minutes. So one of my tips here that I use all the time, you can see that my pan is lined with paper. And it's not wax paper because you don't want to put wax paper in a hot oven. But this is parchment paper, and I use parchment paper all the time. I use it to line my pans when I roast vegetables. I use it to line my pans when I'm making meatballs. I use it to line my pans for just about everything. The only thing you don't want to use it to line your pan for is when you're broiling, because the paper would catch fire. So, and what's the advantage of using parchment paper, you say? It makes cleanup super easy, and we want to get out of the kitchen fast, right? So yeah, who wants to stand around and wash pans? So we're almost done rolling our balls here. And these are super delicious. And while they're in the oven, we're going to make a super easy sauce to go with. Okay, we're gonna do the garnish for our balls. Now these are the Thai meatballs, and I'm gonna show you a little bit of a skill here. These are all basil leaves that I've just stacked on top of each other, and then I'm gonna roll them really tight like a little cigar, but you're not gonna smoke it. And then we're gonna do a technique called chiffonade. Chiffonade. So take our knife, and we're going a little bit of an angle on our tightly rolled cigar, and what we end up with is these little beautiful shreds of basil. Isn't that pretty? And oh my gosh, it smells good. Basil is one of those things. I love pesto too, and I grow basil. I don't have a lot of garden space, but I grow basil just to make pesto because it's so good. And if you guys want to learn how to make pesto, I make mine without cheese. So this is 2 cans of coconut milk. It's not low fat or anything. It's the regular canned coconut milk. So it's 2 cans of coconut milk plus 1 cup of chicken stock. And this is going to make our sauce. And I've tried to do this recipe with less sauce, but you know what? Less sauce is not better. So to that, we're going to add about 4 tablespoons of tomato paste and about 3 tablespoons of red curry paste, which comes in a little jar in the Asian section. And we're just going to give it a little bit of a whisk. And coconut milk just makes everything taste better. This is a very simple Thai sauce. You can control the heat by using sriracha. I love sriracha. My family calls it Asian ketchup. So we're going to let that come to a boil. And then we're going to add, you can put any kind of vegetable in here. I love pea pods in here, so we're going to put pea pods in here. You got to give it a little taste. Make sure that it's it's getting there. Needs a little sriracha and a little lime. And I think we're just going to put a squash more of our roasted red chili paste. That's a squash, in case you were wondering. Give that a whirl. So again, if you have small children in your family, you might want less of this, or your kids might like sriracha. I happen to love sriracha. It's good on just about anything. Well, let's give it a little taste here. So good. Now it needs a little acid punch. And again, I'm out of fresh limes. I almost always have fresh limes at home, but We're gonna use just a dab of an organic lime juice. And we're gonna put in another dab of red curry paste. Might as well finish up the jar, right? I love red curry. There we go. So this is just trying and tasting, because it's really individual, however you like it to be. Oh, it's really getting there now. I'm gonna add a little more sriracha. That was a lot more. You guys don't mind though, right? And I think it should be there. Yum. Yum, yum, yum. Now we're gonna add our pea pods, and we're just gonna simmer that for a couple of minutes till our pea pods are a little cooked. Again, you can add any kind of vegetable in here. You could do some peppers in there. You could do broccoli. You could put some red onions in here. When you serve the meatballs, you can serve them over a jasmine rice is gorgeous. Or if you're eating lower carb, you can do a cauliflower rice, which is also pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of cauliflower rice, but it'll fit the bill. Let's give it one more. Ah, it's perfect. Okay. So the balls are all done, and look at how beautiful they are. And if you want to sneak one for a snack, I'm not telling. So we're just going to put our balls in our sauce. Now you can also not put the balls in the sauce. You can keep them separately. I like to make a batch of these balls even without the sauce and just have them in the refrigerator, and they freeze really well. So a lot of times, because I cook for just mainly myself, I'll make a big batch of balls like this, and I'll put it in the freezer in little zip top bags, and then we're just gonna garnish it with our fresh chiffonaded basil. Isn't that beautiful? Now our meatballs are all done, and it's time to get out of the kitchen and back to the table. Bon appetit. Join me again next time for another inspired recipe. Feel free to like and comment. And remember, it's all about good taste.